What's good? What's good? In an attempt to utilize my anger, I am going to try to make parallel videos, but one will be the angry video and the other will be a hopefully calmer version of similar content. In my last video, I talked about the remoralization of the West. And I think that is going to require an individual and collective effort. And so, on an individual level, we must really focus on physical, mental, and spiritual health. In that video, I talked about the unfortunate situation we've found ourselves in, where every conversation seems to be dichotomous. You have to pick one side of the pole. For example, advocating for people to lose weight is fat shaming and ableist and bigoted, when in actuality, some people are advocating for that because they're full of love and they understand the value of being healthy. Not everybody who is overweight or obese is unhealthy. However, there is a scientific correlation between being overweight and obese and general levels of health. It is unfortunate that we live in a world where that is being argued. However, it can be very difficult in a world full of propaganda where you are expected to serve the machine to understand what a healthy lifestyle even looks like. I have a reading that I would like to share. When discussing physical, mental, and spiritual health, this is one of my favorite passages from the book The Tao Te Ching. Specifically, this is the Stephen Mitchell translation. And I'm going to read it and talk about it a little bit in connection with health and wellness. What is rooted is easy to nourish. And that can be a habit, whether it's good or bad. That's the double-edged sword of the paradoxical nature of reality. And that's what this book does, is that it tries to show you in easy to understand ways how you have to accept that life is not mutually exclusive. When having these conversations, you don't have to pick one side of the spectrum or the other. Everything is gray. What is recent is easy to correct. So if you fall off your diet for a day or two, it's a lot easier to jump back on than it is if you fall off for a week or two or a month or two. What is brittle is easy to break. What is small is easy to scatter. Prevent trouble before it arises. Put things in order before they exist. The giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. So there's a lot there. But a lot of it is emphasizing the importance of systems and structure. put things in order before they exist. If you have a system for how you do things, problems won't even arise. You won't have to deal with them. Now, you can't prevent everything, obviously, but there are a lot of things within your control that you can prevent should you choose to face the dragon. And then the giant pine tree grows from a tiny sprout. I like that they put that after the put things in order before they exist, because it kind of tells you that if you neglect something and just continue to neglect it by virtue of ignoring it, it has grown into a giant problem. And now you have a giant problem ahead of you. The journey of 1,000 miles starts from beneath your feet. So get walking. Rushing into action, you fail. Trying to grasp things, you lose them. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. This makes me think of my friends who are just trying the new diet fad, and they get all really excited about the new fad, and they go full bore for a few weeks because they're just trying to force so hard that weight loss and then that perceived happiness that will come from being in shape. Being in shape is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's just one small part of a big equation. Forcing a project to completion, you ruin what was almost ripe. Man, I am so guilty of that one. I need to learn to be more patient and to do the work. Therefore, the master takes action by letting things take their course. He remains as calm at the end, as at the beginning. And see, that's the thing, is like be calm and focused at the beginning, be calm and focused at the end. It's like kind of like a road trip, like how towards the end you start getting anxious and you've been driving, so you're tired. And so you might be speeding a little bit more. You might be a little more agitated. You might be a little driving closer. And then that's when you're likely to get into an accident or get a ticket or something, when you're almost at the end and you're just rushing to get there. In any endeavor that requires focus, that requires preparation, that requires dedication, do the work and the results will come. Don't force the results, just do the work. He remains as calm at the end as at the beginning. He has nothing, thus, he has nothing to lose. What he desires is non desire. What he learns is to unlearn. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. He cares about nothing but the Tao. Thus, he can care for all things. Man, I love it so much because I do have a lot of angry content, but I say that for as much anger and hate in my heart that there is an equal amount of love and light. And I'm trying to access it and share it. I do just want to love everything. I'm finding beauty in the little things, and I'm trying to be thankful. I'm trying to have more gratitude and less attitude. He simply reminds people of who they have always been. You have always been someone worthy of love. You have always been someone worthy of compassion. You have always been worthy. But let me ask you, are you giving yourself love? Are you giving yourself compassion? Are you investing in yourself? Do you have these systems and routines in place to allow you to flourish as an individual? Have you thought about self actualization lately? Let's have a conversation on it. I will happily help anyone who wants assistance with their diet. I am a NASM certified nutrition coach. So I don't do meal plans, but I do diet coaching in the form of calorie, protein, carbohydrate, fat, and fiber guidelines. And there's other things too, but those are kind of like the big things we focus on. If you do love yourself, you should want to try to be healthy. I'll admit I eat more candy than I should, and I'm trying to eat less. I am far from perfect, so I'm not trying to preach from an ivory tower. I'm trying to use my vulnerability to help connect with you. Thank you very much for listening.